Hey, welcome to PGF Racing. Today I want to talk a little bit about a non-full preterist view, more of a partial preterist view, and the possibility of it being something to consider. And I wanted to start with the second coming. And I do believe he appeared a second time, um, or came in Judgement in 70 AD. And let's look at that, 67 to 70 AD. But let's just think about a relationship and a marriage. And you have a wedding and you get married. And then you start to build a relationship over time. And I think that's possibly what's going on here. So the wedding would have been 70 AD basically. The supper for the marriage here was when all the evil kings and the Roman army were judged, and you can see birds flying in the sky for the great supper. Eat the bodies of the rulers, the commanders of the army, famous men, come eat the bodies. So these would have been 70 AD. The armies were killed with a sword that came out of the mouth of the rider on the horse. So let's just imagine this is 70 AD. And yeah, so we'll do that. So then we'll just say that this is an order and not recapitulation. I saw an angel coming down out of heaven. The angel had the key to the bottomless pit. The angel also held a large chain in his hand. The angel grabbed the dragon, that old snake also known as the devil or Satan. The angel untied the dragon with the chain for 1,000 years. So let's just make this bigger here so we can see it. So 70 AD, Satan's tied for 1,000 years. And then 1,070, we'll see what happens here. He's chained for 1,000 years. Then the angel threw the dragon into the bottomless pit and closed it. The angel locked it over the dragon. The angel did this so that the dragon could not trick the people of the earth until the 1,000 years were ended. After the 1,000 years, the dragon must be freed for a short time. So we're up to 2026, if our timeline is 100% true. And there's no hidden years or missing years. So, what's a short time? So if you look at like the book of Adam and Eve, or you look at the book of the Septuagint, it's about 5,000 to 5,500 years till Christ. Now, if you look at the Masoretic text, and you're looking at about 4,000 years to Christ. So basically, it's been 956 years since 1,070. So 15% could be a short time considering time itself since Genesis 1:1. So, or if you go with the Septuagint, then you'd be looking at about 12% to 13% that he's been freed for a short time. So I think that's a reasonable possibility. Let's just kind of roll with it and think it through a little bit. Then I saw some thrones and people sitting on them, and these were the ones who had been given the power to judge. And I saw the souls of them been killed because they are faithful to the truth of Jesus and the message from God. They did not worship the beast or its idol, so they didn't worship Nero or Rome. They didn't receive the mark of the beast of his forehead or of his hand, his right hand, that Roman coin, I believe. They didn't use it to buy or sell. So this would have been the first century people they came back to life and ruled with Christ for 1,000 years. Now, did they come back to life and rule on earth with Christ for 1,000 years? Or did they come back to life and rule in heaven for 1,000 years with Christ? I would probably think in heaven, but that's debatable. So, verse 5. The rest of the dead did not live again until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. So the first resurrection were these people, the first century, the first fruits. And the rest of the dead, I guess, would have been the Old Testament saints and other believers. Or it could have been people after that 1,000-year period from 70 AD to 1070, because I think it says the old saints precede the first fruits. I can't remember that order actually. So just some thoughts there. Hope that made sense. So it could be the people from 70 AD to 1070 had to wait for a second resurrection. So, or even people of our time potentially. So great blessings belong to those who share in the first resurrection. They are God's holy people. The second death has no power over them. They'll be priests for God and for Christ, and they will rule with him for 1,000 years. When the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be made free from his prison, so he would have been freed in 1070 AD. So we would be now dealing with Satan still in this partial preterist view. He'll go out and trick the nations in all the earth, the nations known as Gog and Magog. Satan will gather people for battle. There will be more people than anyone can count, like the sand on the seashore. So there does seem to be a lot more people on earth now than ever before, but that's going to continually be. But maybe, I think we're around 8 billion people now. So I saw Satan's army march across the earth and gather around the camp of God's people. Where that would be, I have no idea. So I'm not sure what to make of that. And the city that God loves, that would be Jerusalem, obviously. But fire came down from heaven and destroyed Satan's army. And he, the one who tricked these people, was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur with the beast and the false prophet. There they would be tortured day and night forever. So that kind of leads me to a little bit of issue with this thought. Just backing up to, I think, Revelation 19 real quick here. But the beast was captured and the false prophet was also captured. So this would have been 70 AD time, 67 to 70 AD time. The false prophet and the beast were thrown in the lake of fire. The armies were killed with a sword. So it seems to be a little bit of an issue here. Just see if we can work it out a little bit and think it through a little bit again here. Okay, let me read that again. So I think I saw Satan's army march across the earth and gather around the camp of God's people in the city that God's loved, but fire came down from heaven and destroyed Satan's army. And the one who tricked these people was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur with the beast and false prophet. There they be. Okay, so actually it's someone that helps or tricked people, and they're thrown in the same place that the beast and the false prophet was. Let me just look at a different version here. Let's see. So that might not be an issue like I thought. It's a third person, it seems like. Okay. So this actually just reads different. The devil who fooled them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur where the beast and false prophet had been thrown. So basically the devil's being defeated here. Just need to go to a different version. Let's go back to the other version. So we're still okay with this idea. Then I saw a large white throne. I saw the one who was sitting on the throne. Earth and sky ran away from him and disappeared. So basically there'd be no more earth and sky. And I saw those who had died, great and small, standing before the throne. So this would be, the earth would be burned up then, basically, like 1 Peter or 2 Peter 3:10 or 1 Peter 3:10, can't remember off the top of my head. These books were opened, and another book was opened, the book of life. The people were judged by what they had done, which is written in the books. The sea gave up the dead who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them, and all these people were judged by what they had done. Death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the lake of fire. This is the second death. And anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown in the lake of fire. Pretty clear cut. So I'll just go a couple more. I'll probably break this up into another video. I'm trying to end this at 12 minutes. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth disappeared, and now there was no sea. So the way I'm kind of imagining this is that, so you got heaven where God's at now, earth where we're at. They both disappear. Then the first heaven, so he now makes a new heaven on earth, on a city that's 12,000 by 12,000 by 12,000. It has a ceiling, where our earth doesn't have a ceiling, it has a sky. So it's actually, if you look at that volume, it's 14 times as big a volume compared to the earth's surface area. So there was no more sea. So there's no more division, is what a sea is. So there'd be no more division between heaven and earth. And so I'll break out the rest of this, how I see potentially Revelation working out. Just something to think about, something to consider, definitely a possibility. As always, love you lots. P. Jeff racing out. Have a great day.